All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Francisco Cantu, and I am back for another live stream Monday on Facebook and YouTube. I hope everyone had a good weekend. I certainly did. And I'm excited again, as I do every Monday, to be live on both Facebook and YouTube to do a quick little presentation, a Q&A session. Think of these sort of as office hours if you are a parent or a student in high school. This is a great opportunity to, number one, learn about ways. Today we're going to be focusing on finding scholarships for college. So it's going to be, number one, a great way for you to find out about resources to find these scholarships for college. But it's also going to be a great opportunity for you to ask questions. Again, whether you are a parent or a student, what I will be doing is I will be starting off with a quick little presentation, and I'm going to be doing a demo. And so if you start to comment right now, whether you are a parent, a student, and where you're watching us from, that's going to be helpful for me, because in a little bit I am going to be doing a demonstration on how to use one one of the most popular search engine tools for scholarships. So if I know that you are, let's say, a parent from New Jersey, then I'm going to be using that information in the demonstration. And who knows, maybe you can find a scholarship or resource that you would otherwise not have found. So go ahead and let me know in the chat where you are watching from. As a matter of fact, right now I have both David and Laura monitoring the chat. I'm sharing right now the comments down below. You can see David saying hello to everyone. And then on the Best College Aid account on YouTube, we also have Laura asking you to let us know where you're watching from. All right. So once you share a comment on either Facebook or YouTube, I'm going to be sharing it on the screen, and I'm going to be using that as the content for my Q&A session at the end, and hopefully to provide you all with some insightful value. All right. So let us know where you're watching from. Okay. A couple of housekeeping, a couple of announcements. Number one, if you have not already done so, go ahead and subscribe. That is the best way to get notified when we go live on these platforms, both YouTube and Facebook. And yeah, if you have not already done so, subscribe. Number two is, if you don't currently do so, go ahead and follow us on Best College Aid USA. That's the same handle across all different platforms. So Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, Best College Aid USA. Okay. So right now, again, as I teased a little bit earlier, we're going to be talking about private scholarships. We're going to do a little demonstration on how to find them. One of the most helpful online search engine tools. We're going to be doing a live demo. So if you want to find more content, or you want to learn more about different areas of the college application journey that extend beyond finding scholarships, so for example, ways to increase odds of acceptance, or ways to help your application or your student's application become more competitive, then you certainly want to follow us on our social media platforms, because whether it's through TikToks, through carousels, through photos, through videos, we use all of these platforms to share that information. All right. So that is my final invitation to follow us on our social media platform. And then two more announcements before we get started with the presentation. As far as resources go, yeah, there's our social media channels and all that stuff. But if you want to learn more about the college application journey, we made this presentation sort of as a catch-all presentation for you to learn about the process in a more comprehensive way from top to bottom. So we have a free training on the 6 strategies to help your children get accepted to college with scholarships. If you don't know where to find that, what you can do is you go over here. Let's say you're watching us on YouTube right now. You scroll down to the description of the video, and in show more, you are going to see a link that once you click it, that is the sign up page for our presentation, 6 steps to go to college with scholarships. All we need is your name and email, and you'll be able to access this training. Again, it's shorter or equally as long as this live stream, so it's not going to take too much out of your day to register for to watch that free presentation. But we made it as a catch-all, or as a resource that everyone could access beyond these webinars or beyond these live streams. Why? Because oftentimes we finish these live streams, and let's say today we're going to be talking about private scholarships, but some parents or some students will ask us about filling out their college applications, or about what extracurriculars they should be doing over the summer. So sort of to have enough resource or enough information out there to be able to point you towards, we created this free training. It's we pre-recorded it, is edited to be as concise but as densely packed with information as possible. So again, if you want another resource beyond this live stream, which by the way will be recorded and posted in our social media platforms in both Facebook and YouTube, so do know that you'll have access to that as well. So again, resources, the free training, the recording of this live stream, the Q&A session that we're about to have at the end of this presentation, and obviously all of our social media channels at Best College Aid USA. All right. And then the final announcement before I get started with the presentation is that we are having a 60% off Mother's Day sale. I know that says Easter sale, but it's meant to renew for our Mother's Day special that we're having. I know it's a month away, but we do want to start bringing awareness to that. So it's 60% off our full paid program. If you register for the free presentation, again, I've always been very transparent about Best College Aid, how we operate. We do this live streams every week to hopefully provide you with free information with a lot of value. We have that free training to give you additional resources. However, there are people who want to learn more beyond the 3 hours that we go live on a week between Mondays and Tuesdays and all of our channels. And beyond that free presentation, there are people who want even more help, advising, counseling. So we do have a full paid program. And at the end of that free training, we talk more about about the program and how you can join, what it includes, all the benefits. So I do want to let you all know that if you watch this live stream, you get a lot of value. You ask your questions, you get a lot of value. You watch the training, you get a lot of value. And you are interested after all of that in joining a more personalized sort of resource and advising, you can definitely consider joining the Best College Aid full pay program. All right. So that is it as far as announcements. Let me go ahead and remind you all of what today's presentation is about, and then let's get started. So again, how to look for private scholarships and a full tutorial we'll be covering. All right, so scholarships, how to pay for college. Let's see. The first thing that I want to talk to you all about in regards to finding scholarships for college or how to fund your students' education is the basics. All right, let's start with the very, very basics, and that is what are the different ways to pay for college. And as of today, there are four main ways a student can get funding for their education. There are federal aid and scholarships, closely related or mostly tied to filling out the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. There are institutional aid and scholarship programs. So that goes hand in hand with a university's endowment and the policies that they have in place to provide institutional funds towards the scholarships that their students will be receiving. Next up, we have state scholarships, and every state has their own set of programs and protocols and procedures to award funds from that state to students who will be enrolling in a university, a college or a university within that state who also went to high school there, all right? And then the final type of scholarship is the one that most people think about when they are when they think of scholarships, and those are private scholarships, all right? So private scholarships, how they are awarded and the way that they work is simply that they're offered by individuals, private organizations, foundations, corporations, Coca-Cola, Bill and Melinda Gates foundations, religious groups, and they are funds that a student will go through an application process. And again, because these are private entities, it's not as standardized. So one private entity could have a procedure for considering applicants, and another company might have a completely different procedure. Some might focus on merit as far as SAT and GPA and standardized test scores, while others might focus on an applicant having a certain number of volunteer hours or specific extracurriculars, all right? So these are the ones that most students think of when they think of applying for private scholarships. Fill out an essay, send your scores, and you're considered. The focus of today's presentation is going to be private scholarships, all right? We've done a lot of content, and in our YouTube and Instagram and Facebook pages, you can see a ton of information on federal aid, institutional aid, state aid. However, today we want to focus, and we're going to do a demo on the best practices for finding private scholarships. With that being said, I do want to lay out some context. A lot of people uh, don't know that every year there's $7.4 billion awarded in private scholarships every year. And a lot of people also don't know that you can apply for private scholarships as early as middle school or as late as your junior year of college. A lot of people think that when you apply for private scholarships, you should be a senior in high school, and that those scholarships will be either for your freshman year of college or for all 4 years. And that once that time passes, you're done. When the reality is that, and what we're going to learn and what we're going to do in today's demo, is that you should apply for private scholarships sort of like a recurring job, almost religiously once a week. You should sit down, browse through the different options, and make sure you make it part of your routine, because all of the money that you receive from private scholarships just keeps on accumulating and can go towards covering the cost of tuition. All right. And there's going to be rarely another period in your life or in your student's life in which they could get awarded 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, $10,000 for the amount of work that it takes to fulfill the different requirements for a specific scholarship. All right. So we're going to go all over that in just a second, but I want to make sure you all understand the context of private scholarships. And then the last thing that I want to say in regards to private scholarships and the context and the best practices is that in the last 10 years, number of private scholarships has increased by 45%. And that's because of a lot of different reasons. There's a lot of, tax implications if you're a company and you provide scholarships. There's a lot of social causes related to wanting to provide educational opportunities for different groups. So that is part of the reason why there are more and more private scholarships available for students. All right. So now we're going to move on to a quick little demo on how to look for private scholarships. But before we get there, I want to talk about some of the resources that we teach our students in the Best College Aid to use. There's Fastweb, which is going to be what we're going to use in today's tutorial demonstration. There's College Board. The College Board, same tool that you can also use to find colleges and use different criteria to eliminate different colleges that might not be a good fit. That they also have a search engine tool. There's scholarships.com, there's Niche, there's Scholly. So there are a bunch of search engines out there, right? Now, before we get started with the tutorial, I do want to let you all know a little disclaimer, a little hack, not a hack, but something that a lot of students don't do, and something that we talk about every week, is that the national average with regards to how many students there are per one high school counselor available for students is 408 students per one counselor. All right. And again, this is the national average. Some states are better funded and they have less students per counselor. Other states or other counties are severely underfunded and they have way more students per one college counselor. All right. So with that being said, they don't, in general, the national average dictates that they don't have these college counselors at your student's high school. There are enough resources to sit one-on-one with every single student and their parents, review their cases, and say, you, based on your heritage, your religion, your GPA, SAT, ACT scores, would qualify for this, and this scholarship, all right? So usually what they'll revert to is using a newsletter or having a website, or maybe if your high school uses some sort of communication software or CRM, they will send out text messages or mass emails to parents and hope that that's enough for students to be aware of these opportunities. All right. So before we get started looking at a search engine, I do want to let you all know that sometimes the best bang for buck, because these public college counselors at your high school are not going to sit down one by one with every student and their parents. If you are the one student or the parent who goes into their office or seeks them out to ask them about a list of scholarships that they might have available that are specific to your county, to your high school, to your region, they more likely than not are going to be responsive because they don't have many students who reach out to them. Again, because they don't have the ability to communicate one-on-one, so they resort to all these impersonal methods of, again, mass emails, mass texts, newsletter, sending out emails, a website. So sometimes it's as easy as requesting time for an appointment with your college counselor at your high school, and they will have a list of opportunities that might not even be published on any of the search engines that I just mentioned, that might, again, be specific for your high school, your region, your county. And the cool thing about this is if it's your high school counselor who is recommending these tools, you can have a degree of certainty that these tools have been pre-vetted and that you don't have to go through a lot of the the vetting process or the criteria, like going through hoops to make sure that this scholarship is reliable and safe. Because as we're going to find in just a little bit when I do the demo, there are a lot of scholarships that are, promoted through advertising that might not necessarily be a good fit for your students, but there's money in all these advertisers or websites promoting the scholarship because they get paid to promote this scholarship. All right. So going directly through your high school counselor is a way to bypass all the noise and get straight to the good scholarships. All right. So that's a disclaimer I wanted to start with. And now let's go ahead and do a quick little demo on how to use Fastweb. All right. One of the many resources, one of the many search engines that we're going to do today. All right. So do keep me updated in the chat. If you can see, if you have any input, if you are a parent or a student, maybe if you can tell me where you're watching from or your specific student statistics, so that maybe we can find something that would be relevant to you. All right. But as of right now, I'm simply going to log in to Fastweb. I already made an account. Actually, I already logged in. If you have not already done so, you can just go to fastweb.com and quickly register. And here's what we're going to start with. All right. We're going to go straight to our account, and here I see, and I made this account before today's presentation. But here you can see that currently you have 60 matches. I purposefully kept this very vague so that we can fill it out with information and we can see the progress. So I put that I am a high school sophomore looking for scholarships for being a freshman in college. For right now, I put the GPA being 2.0. Again, I wanted to make these statistics as low as possible just to show the increase, because I'm going to show a way to get through all of the noise and all of the scholarships that are not necessarily applicable to your student. But basically, right now it says 0 new matches, 375,000 potential dollars in value, 60 matches. What we're going to do here, we're going to edit this, and no one's put anything in the chat as far as numbers, so I'm just going to put 3.75 GPA. You can, if you're doing this with your student, you can put whatever student, the GPA of your student. That didn't really affect any of the numbers up here. But what we're going to also do is we're going to change the SAT math score from 200, which is the lowest, to, let's say, 650. Let's do 620. Save. All right. Still doesn't change much because there's many other categories that can affect this number. I also did the same thing for English. Instead of 200, let's do 590. All right. And again, we're going to keep on filling this out. And as you can see, now we're starting to get new matches. 17 new matches. It went from $375,000 to $397,000. And now we have a total of 77 matches, right? Because the more statistics, and especially the higher that they are, the more eligibility we're going to have for different scholarships and different opportunities. All right. So that's currently what we have. Let's keep on filling this out. ACT score, I also purposefully put down the lowest, but let's say we have a 27 or a 26 in the ACT. We save it. Now we got no new matches. We still have the 17 new that we already had from the SAT. Those scores are fairly similar, so we probably don't meet a lot of the new criteria, but let's see. High school graduation year, I put 2023. Let's edit this to be 2024. Save. That shouldn't change much. Let's keep on going down. I put down the University of North Carolina as a potential interest. It doesn't really affect much what universities you put down, but you can put as many or as little as you want. There's not really an important criteria. Computer science as a possible major. That's okay. Career objectives, we can edit this. Accounting, directing, advertising. I don't really want to play around with this too much because I want to keep this kind of broad in terms of my education. But when we get to the next section, the bio that talks about for example, citizenship. I purposely put none of the above, but most of you are going to be U.S. citizens. So we're going to save that. And that should open up a bunch of new opportunities when we combine it with other factors. So for example, we have US citizen, but let's say we have heritage. Let's put, I was born and raised in Mexico. So let's put Mexican, save. All right, so we're starting to build a profile. And again, this is just going to keep on more and more resources. See how many more opportunities we have. We went from 77 to 98. So these are just a bunch of scholarships that have a prerequisite to be Hispanic. All right. So later on, we're going to find how to dig through all of the noise and all of the scholarships that might not be applicable to you. But for example, if you're not Mexican, let's say you are of Irish heritage or Chinese heritage, whatever the case might be, you can use this filter to find those opportunities. Ethnicity, same thing. Hispanic, you can put African American, American Indian, whatever applies to your situation. And again, these numbers just keep on going up and up and up. Now we started with 60 when we had the bare bones, and granted, those 60 were probably a lot of spam, but we went from 60 to 99. All right. So we're going to keep on going down this list. Religion, again, you don't have to fill this out, but let's just see what comes out if we put Catholic and we save that. And again, you could put any religion you want, and it went from 90 something to 108, right? Just from adding that filter of religion. So you can see the more specific and the more granular that you get with this, the more opportunities you are going to qualify for. And that's going to be important later on when I show you which ones are worth your time and which ones are a little bit pointless in terms of whether or not you should apply to those scholarships. But let's continue to fill this out. Let's say that you were a swimmer throughout high school. We save that. And then we're going to add a little bit more in terms of extracurriculars, student activities. We can put student government association, and then we can put a student government participant, save. And you can see the number is just going to go up and up and up and up. All right. 108 matches, almost double of what we started with. Let's see. Performing arts, fraternity, military experience, parent attributes. Okay, so for right now, let's put a pause on adding more criteria. I mean, we already added like 40 something new matches, and we went from $375,000 in potential value to almost 500,000. So the next step would be to go to scholarships, my scholarships. And here you're going to see, again, it's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be overwhelming because it's going to display 108 scholarships, and a lot of them are going to be featured or they're going to be advertised. That means that different companies paid to promote these scholarships on these websites. So a lot of them are not going to be specific. So what I recommend is, let's say we added the filter earlier of being of Mexican heritage, Hispanic ethnicity. So what we can put here is Hispanic. And we're going to see that all these scholarships are by the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. So all of these are going to be specific and pertinent to your particular situation. It's going to take into consideration your student's GPA, your student's SAT and ACT scores to make sure that they are relevant and that your student qualifies for those, all right? But let's say that we are not going down the route of Hispanic and we want to go down the route of religion and we want to put Catholic. And that's something that we added as one of our criteria. And we can see that there's one that has the Catholic in the name, $2,000 for Catholic colleges scholarship drawing. All right. And as you open these, you're going to see that they're going to have a description, an apply now button, and it's going to be easy to keep track of if you have some sort of Excel or Google Sheet. We provide our best college aid members with scholarship trackers so they can track their progress and they can make sure that they stay up to date with deadlines and requirements. And again, each scholarship is going to have different requirements as to what they need from an applicant to be able to qualify. But again, the whole point and what I wanted to show you all here is that once you make your profile, it's not just a matter of making the profile and then going to the matches, because again, there's going to be a lot of noise. Yes, you can go for a paid version, but the whole point here is I want to provide you all with free resources. If you want to stay with the free version, I just invite you all to use the search criteria to supplement whatever you put in your profile. You can supplement whatever it is that you put in your profile with searching specifically for those prerequisites. So for example, if we were to go back to our account, to our student profile, and we wanted to change, let's say I'm not, let's say that I am not Mexican. Let's say you are, let's say Chinese, save. And then we go to our, you see the number stays fairly high because there's going to be different opportunities. And we go to my scholarships and maybe we'll look for Asian. Okay, we don't find any that way, but if we look for Chinese, we also don't find any using that criteria. I wonder what, okay, let's see if we go to matches. But you get the gist of it, right? You add a bunch of different filters based on your current situation, and then you got to dig through the dirt to find the ones that are applicable and specific to your situation, all right? Maybe if we go ahead and add the ethnicity, that will help out with this example, all right? So again, in the comments, you can let me know if there's any particular filter that you want to try in this particular example. So maybe it's because we put Chinese and then kept it on Hispanic, but let's see, Asian or Pacific Islander. Let's do that. And then we go back to my opportunities. And then we use the search filter. We can use other words like relocation. And you just got to try with a bunch of these and see which ones work. All right. So in this particular example, those words are not working, but I would just go through a bunch of different lists, or you could go one by one through these 108 opportunities displayed, and then go one by one and see which ones apply to you. All right. But you kind of get the gist of it, right? So now I want to go over some pointers or some relevant piece of information with regards to private scholarships. So number one, it is usually never too early or too late to apply for private scholarships. You can apply, as I mentioned earlier, to scholarships that are available for students who are freshmen, sophomores, juniors in high school. You don't have to wait till your senior year of high school. And then once you're in college, yes, granted, the majority of scholarships are available for students who are seniors in high school, but there's still going to be a lot of opportunities available for students who are in college. It's just a matter of, again, using search engines to look for those particular opportunities. In the example that I just went through, I was looking for scholarships for my freshman year of college, but different search engines are going to provide you with the opportunity to look for scholarships for your sophomore, junior, and senior year of college. All right. So it's just a matter of finding those. And although they're not going to be as plentiful as the scholarships available for your freshman year of college, they're still going to be out there. It's just a matter of finding them. All right. Pointer number two is you don't have to apply straight up to the $200,000 scholarship or the full ride Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation scholarship or the Coca-Cola big grant. Like there are scholarships that are going to cover everything. But the thing with those scholarships is that they are going to have thousands upon thousands of applicants, and they're going to be highly competitive. Whereas if you apply to 5, 10, 20 scholarships that are very specific to you, that are for, Mexican immigrants in South Florida, or a relocation committee, or a leadership scholarship for students who did debate, or whatever the case might be, the more specific that it is, the more it weeds out potential competition, because there's more requirements for you to qualify for that, less people that you compete against, higher odds for you to receive that. And sometimes it's better. I'm not telling you not to apply for the full ride scholarships. What I am saying is it is very much worth your time to apply for a bunch of smaller scholarships in hopes to get $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $10,000 in a combination of all those different opportunities than it is to only apply to one full ride scholarship and have your odds be so low and not get them and then not receive any money from private aid and scholarships. All right. So, my pointers: apply before your senior year of high school and continue applying all the way through your college career. The more specific that you get with these scholarships, the better. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the third pointer that I wanted to let you all know is that a way to pre-vet and a way to get over a lot of the noise that I was showing you in this search engine is by going directly to your high school's college counselor and ask if they have a list of proven opportunities or high school, or scholarships that have been awarded to students within your high school in previous years or students within your county. Because again, that is a very easy way, because they're in the loop of opportunities that are available locally. That is an excellent opportunity to get rid of all those sponsored scholarships that are just being promoted because they paid some ad money, and that might not necessarily have the most equitable filtering process or vetting process for their applicants. All right. So those are the three main pointers that you should walk away with from this presentation. Hopefully, the demo helped, and hopefully, you now have a little bit of an idea as to where you should go next in regards to private scholarships. Remember, that's just one small piece of information. It's one of the four main sources of funding for your college career. We do focus inside Best College Aid, to be completely transparent. Inside Best College Aid, we focus first on making sure that you qualify, if you're eligible to receive federal aid, to make sure that you fill out the necessary documentation to qualify for that. Primarily the FAFSA being submitted on time after October 1st, correctly with no mistakes, because a lot of the money given out by the FAFSA gets given out on a first come, first served basis. So that's priority number one. Priority number two is finding generous institutions, because different schools have different endowments, which is money that then the university uses in turn to fund the scholarship programs at their particular institution. So if you find schools that have a history of being generous with students in a similar financial situation as your households, then all of the award packages offered by the different schools that you end up applying to will be generous. And who knows, maybe you could even negotiate to get even more generous of a package. But if you apply to a bunch of schools that are not generous with their institutional awards, then you might only get bad deals, and you're going to have to choose between schools that are not offering you a lot of help, right? So that's pointer number two. Then we move on to make sure that if you're going to stay in your state, you qualify for state aid. And then finally, after all of that, we focus on private scholarships. But in the majority of cases, federal, institutional, and state aid are going to provide the great majority of your financial aid award package. But if after you complete all of that successfully, you want even more resources, which is, again, the methodology inside Best College Aid goes like that. Federal, institutional, state, make sure that all of that is covered, and we make sure students fill out all the necessary documentation. They are aware of the deadlines. They have guidance on filling everything out correctly. And then once that is done, we help them find these private scholarships to supplement everything else. All right. So do be aware that you should first prioritize the other three types of financial aid and scholarships being all in order before you worry about applying for private scholarships. But once you get in the habit, or once you get into the groove of applying for private scholarships, remember, check these search engines recurrently. If there's not a scholarship that you could apply to this week, that doesn't mean that another one is not going to open up next week. So you want to make sure that you build it into your habits to have to check those scholarships. All right. So that is it as far as the presentation on private scholarships. It was a quick little tutorial. Hopefully it provided you with a good overview of how this search engine process works. I'm looking out for the chat, and I'm going to give you more time to ask questions if you have any. It could be about private scholarships. It could be about any type of scholarship. It could be about anything regarding the college application process. However, if you don't have any questions, I do have, again, I want to invite you all. I want to let you know about resources, right? Things you can do from now on to help your students or to help yourself on the college journey. All right. Number one is the recording for this live stream will be posted on our YouTube and Facebook pages at Best College Aid USA. So keep an eye out for that. If you came in late, you'll be able to watch the tutorial I just did. Number two is we have a pre-recorded training, completely free. is a presentation on the 6 strategies to help your children get accepted to college with scholarships. This presentation was all about scholarships. In that live stream, or in that training, sorry, we focus, yes, on the scholarship aspect, but also the increasing the competitiveness of a college application. So do check that out if you want information beyond what we covered in this video. Again, so that's 2 resources. Number one, the recording for this live stream. Number two, this free training. And then that leads me, and again, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, very transparent about this. We do these live streams every week, between Spanish live stream, English live stream. We do a total of 4 hours of these Q&A sessions, these presentations that we prepare for you all. And that's what we want to do. We want to give out free resources. That's why we also prepare the free training. Now, we got a lot of people asking for a more personalized support, advising, information that goes beyond the 4 hours of office hours that we give out across our different social media channels, on top of everything that we post on our social media channels. So we do have a full paid program. And in the last 8 minutes of this training, I talk more about what it includes, all the crash course and study materials to prepare for advanced placement classes, standardized testing, what classes to take, how to apply for college, how to make sure all of your financial aid forms are filled out on time and properly, how to make a college list. Once you're in college, what classes to take, how to reduce the cost of college, even things such as financial literacy, how to start building your credit, look for jobs, all that good stuff we cover inside the Best College Aid program. So it goes as we cover as early as middle school and as late as live in college. We have students who have joined when they are in middle school, and students who have joined when they are already graduated from high school and they're looking to transfer into a different institution. So the last 8 minutes of that free training, we go over the program, what it includes, and how you can become a member. We are having a 60% off discount because of Mother's Day. That is next month. So we're going to have a month-long promotion for you to check out. So if you register for that free training and you stay till the end, we have that 60% off discount incorporated at the end of the presentation for you to check out. All right. So go ahead and watch that and let me know if you have any questions. I see that there are no more questions in either of the Facebook or YouTube chats. So I'm going to take that as me having covered everything properly and comprehensively. I will be back tomorrow on our Instagram and TikTok channels at Best College Aid USA, also at 7:15 with another presentation. And then I'll be back on YouTube and Facebook next Monday at 7:15. And yeah, we should go from there. I appreciate you all tuning in and check out the free resources that I shared just a little bit ago. Thank you so much for being attentive and for the highlight of my week, which are these live streams. And yeah, have a great beginning of your week. See y'all later. Bye bye.